$528 billion. That is how much the creator economy is going to be worth by 2030. In this video, I'm going to tell you what you need to do differently in 2026 in order to get a piece of that $1 billion pie. By the way, this video is sponsored by Pixar, more of them later. All right, let's kick off with a subject that is going to be very important for every creator, and that is your platform mix. What I'm referring to here is the specific platforms that you're going to use to reach your goals in 2026. Now, there's been a significant shift in the recent year when it comes to creators and how many platforms they're on. And this shift has been driven by platforms making it easier and easier for you to edit content on their platform and then download it without a watermark. You know, when you used to have the little logos, like the TikTok logo on your video, you don't have to have that anymore. But not only that, AI tools have flooded the marketplace, which make it easier for you to cut down long form videos into Reels and TikToks that actually perform really well on their own. What does this all mean? What it means is that it's now easier than ever to repurpose your content across multiple platforms, which is leading to a trend of creators needing to be on multiple platforms. It's worth noting that this trend is also driven by a lot of TikTok uncertainty this year, which has led creators to really start to think about diversifying their platforms and making sure that their audience is actually spread out across multiple different sites. So what does this mean for your platform mix in 2026? Well, it means that you should be looking to have 2 or more platforms under your belt. I know, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to break it to you. You do need to be on multiple platforms. The good news is, as I said, it's easier to repurpose your content across multiple platforms now, but it's still important that you pay close attention to the platforms you're going to be on. And I always say that you need to have a hierarchy to your platforms. So it's not enough just to be like, okay, well, I'm going to be on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. You need to know which of those platforms is the most important and which is the least. And it's important that you know this because it will allow you to prioritize when you go through periods of time where you can't be consistent across all 3. You can't see Mojo right now, but she's just so engrossed with what I'm saying. She's like, okay, what platform should I be on? So which platforms should you be focusing on in 2026? There's a few things to consider here. The first is, which platform do you simply prefer? If you don't pick a platform that you actually like to create content on, you're going to struggle to be consistent. The second is, what are your goals for your social media presence? If you want to work with brands, then you might want to pay attention to this graph on the screen, because this breaks down which platforms brands are going to be investing in the most when it comes to partnering with talent. So as you can see, TikTok is number 1 in terms of brand investment, followed by Instagram, which is in 2nd place. YouTube is 3rd and Facebook is 4th. I should flag that these stats are specific to the US market. Those are the core platforms. So if you're looking to work with brands next year and you're picking your platform mix, I would ensure that at least one of those top 4 are in your mix. Now, if your goal for your channels isn't to work with brands, but to build a community, or maybe it's to earn more money from the platform that you're on through things like creator funds, partner programs, etc., then I actually recommend you look at this diagram instead. These are the top 5 platforms that full-time and part-time creators are planning to expand on in the next 12 months. So this is what your other friends in the creator industries are focusing on. As you can see, YouTube's number 1, Instagram and TikTok are drawn in 2nd place, followed by Facebook and then Snapchat. The reason why this order looks different from the previous order is because different platforms are better for different things. Whilst YouTube might be 3rd when it comes to earning money from brand partnerships, it's actually 1st when it comes to earning money from YouTube itself through their partner program, but also 1st when it comes to community building, especially when you're sharing long form content like the video that I'm filming right now. You'll also notice the inclusion of Snapchat in this graph. Snapchat is 5th here, but 9th on the graph that I shared previously. And this is because Snapchat is one of the best platforms for actually earning an income from the platform itself, whereas brands aren't massively investing in Snapchat creators just yet. So think about what your goals are, what your priorities are, and pick your platform mix based on that information I just shared. This next trend is for anyone who's ever felt victimized by the word consistency. I'm calling this trend predictability is the new consistency. Now let me explain. 2025 was the year of the signature series. I even have a whole video teaching you exactly how to create one. I created multiple signature series on my social channels, and they resulted in me growing my audience by over 20,000 people. Now, why do you think signature series performed so well this year? It's because they're predictable. Every episode of a signature series has a similar hook, a similar purpose. They even have the same formats. And in a world which is becoming more unpredictable by the second, our audiences are craving that predictability. So in 2026, the creators who will win will be those who create a predictable content strategy, which follows a consistent routine that their audience can be a part of. By the way, this is also a cheat sheet for creating a community. Now, don't worry, I'm not saying that you have to have a signature series in order to do this. There are so many other ways that you can make your content strategy predictable. For example, maybe you film a short reel every single time you go for a walk, and you call that your walk and yap, where you're just talking about a specific subject. Maybe you're reflecting on the week. Maybe you're talking about a news article relevant to your niche. Another example is doing an Ask Me Anything Wednesday. So every single Wednesday, your audience thinks to seek out your Instagram content because they know you're going to be answering questions on your stories. Maybe you want to do a weekly business update where every single Friday you give people an update on how you're getting on with this brand new business venture you're doing. Or maybe, let me give you a real life example, you do a newsletter series that always follows the same format. Mine is called A Letter to My Readers. I send it on the first Monday of every single month, and it's basically a diary entry talking about everything that went wrong, everything that went right in my business from the last month. Now, the gag is, this tactic is not revolutionary, right? You probably have already done something similar to this in the past, but the reason why it's going to be so effective in 2026 is because you will be inviting your audience to make your content part of their weekly schedule. You want to use these tactics to train your audience to expect a certain type of content from you at a certain day on a certain time, right? That is how you'll be able to thrive in 2026. Not only will it help you build a community around this thing that you do every single week at the same time, but it will also help you beat the algorithms, because algorithms love that level of consistency. So it's not just about posting at the same time every week, it's about posting in similar formats at the same time every week. Before we move on to the next trend, let's talk about a tool that you're going to want to be using in 2026 and beyond. This tool is called Pixar. Now, there's a specific feature that I want to show you today that I've been playing around with recently. Do you guys remember when we all discovered the idea of using templates for social media posts? I feel like you probably can. Suddenly, we all felt like we were graphic designers. And when you went on Instagram, for example, you would be flooded with loads of static posts that looked exactly the same because everyone was using the same templates. Well, Pixar has created an AI template feature, which makes it easy for you to create custom templates for your social media channels that don't look like anyone else's. So let me show you how it works. So first up, you click on the AI templates button. And then from there, you're able to write in your own prompts, which will basically inform the template that you receive. Now, I always use the enhance my idea button because I always feel like my prompts just aren't as succinct or as detailed as they need to be. So if we click enhance my idea, you'll see that it's going to build out my prompt so that it actually is way more useful than whatever it is that I wrote. From there, you could pick things like the color method. You can even click inspire me if you're not even sure where you want to begin. And then you can go ahead and click generate templates. As a result, you'll see a few different templates that have been generated off the back of your prompt. And if you feel like you need some more, you can just click the generate more button and more templates will appear. It's a really quick and easy way for you to find templates that are actually suited to your needs, and also templates that are unique and no one else is going to be using. If you want to get started with Pixar, head to the link in my description. This next trend is all about brand partnerships. So specifically for anyone out there who wants to work with a brand in 2026, you need to hear what I'm about to tell you, because my God, are brand partnerships changing. There's a few things we need to cover here. The first is that your audience size as a creator is just, I don't want to say it's completely irrelevant, but it's nowhere near as important as it used to. Brands simply don't care about your audience size as much as they used to. And the reason why this trend is happening is because over the last year or so, brands have been investing heavily on how they measure the impact of their brand partnerships with creators and influencers. Now, a lot of brands would say they've not fully nailed this yet, but as a result of measuring how creator partnerships actually perform, most brands are starting to realize that a creator's audience size doesn't actually determine how well a partnership will perform. Other metrics are actually more important, such as the average views of their content, their engagement rate, the sentiment. So how are people talking about this creator in their comment section? These are all the metrics that I predict brands will be focusing more on in 2026, which is great news, by the way, because if we all focus on building a community, then all of us should be getting more opportunities. Now, in addition to brands basically not caring about your audience size anymore, they're also changing the way in which they work with creators. So they're starting to form partnerships that don't only exist on social media. For example, more and more brands are asking creators to take part in their events, right? I have spoken at probably 20 plus events this year. I haven't actually counted. It might be more than that. Way more events than I've ever spoken at in my life. And that is mostly driven by this trend. They're also inviting creators to do things like shape their future products. They're producing custom landing pages for their creator partnerships. I actually have that with a few brands that I work with long term. If you don't know what I'm talking about, by the way, it just means that there's a web page on some of my brand partners' websites, which is just my face and my recommendations, and it's been personalized for me. Take this quote from Brand Nation. The most successful creator partnerships in 2026 will create memorable experiences which extend beyond digital content, building deeper connections between brands, creators, and communities. All right, let's talk about AI, because we all knew that I was going to have to talk about AI at some point because it is completely disrupting the industry. I do think I've got some good news for you when it comes to this trend though. So this trend is all about AI influencing the process of content creation and not the end result. There's been a few panels I've been on this year where someone has asked me the question, am I worried that I'm going to be replaced by an AI avatar? And the answer to that question is simply no. The rise of AI outcome content, which is what I'm calling content where the end result is completely AI driven. So it's like an AI avatar. There's no human element of the video or the photo that you're looking at. That has contributed to a rise of AI slop, right? Which is basically just crap AI content. And with the rise of AI slop, there has been a decline in people being interested in AI slop, which means that brands want to work with creators who produce human content. Not only that, guys, but please keep in mind that brands have their own AI policies. So if you're working with brands in 2026 and the output of your content has been created by AI in some way, shape, or form, you need to make sure that's flagged to the brand because it might be that it doesn't align with their company policies. So how will AI be used instead? AI will be used in the process of content creation. So the back end stuff, right? It will be used to help you edit faster. It could be used to help you tweak your hooks and maybe even your script. Not write the script from scratch, but maybe improve it, right? Basically the ways that I've been teaching you to use it this entire year. That should continue in 2026. We're not going to be replaced. This does bring me on to the final trend though, and this one in my opinion is quite an exciting one, which is that there will be a new way to grow your audience in 2026. And you guessed it, it will be AI driven. Have you guys heard of the phrase AI engine? I don't know why I ask you questions when I know you can't ask me back in real time. Why do I do that? Well, AI engines are reshaping the way that people find and discover creators, and they're going to be a huge driving force for the creators who grow in 2026. Let me give you a real life example to break down how this basically works, right? So on the screen, you will see an AI engine. The one that I'm choosing is ChatGPT. I typed in a prompt about videos which will help me become a content creator. As a result of me typing in that prompt, ChatGPT has summarized a bunch of different creators and a bunch of different videos which will help me achieve that goal. Fortunately for me, as I scrolled, I did spot my name. Thank God. It wasn't as high up as I would have liked it to be, but it was there, which means that my content would potentially be recommended to anyone who's typing in a similar prompt at this moment in time. This is important because this is the new way that people discover things online. People use AI chatbots to find answers to anything and everything. So if your content is appearing in those answers, your discoverability will be supercharged next year. This actually has a name. It's called generative engine optimization. So it's like a play on search engine optimization. I'm going to give you some tips on how you can optimize your content for GEO. I think that's the first time I've ever said that out loud, and I've just had a realization that that is probably going to be what I'm talking about for a lot of next year. But before I do, I want to share this stat with you because it really hammers home just how important this is. Walmart reported that 20% of their measurable traffic comes from GEO. 20%. That's insane. Okay, so how can you optimize your content for GEO in 2026? This is potentially the most important section of this entire video, which is why I've saved it last. This is a reward for sticking with me throughout the video. This is the kind of gold you get when you watch the whole thing. First up, use consistent terminology. So you want to avoid using 10 synonyms for the same thing, which essentially means pick a word that you're using to describe something and continue to use that word. This is important because language models weigh consistency very heavily. So they want to see that you're repeatedly saying or writing the same word over and over again, because that's going to help you rank higher under that word. Next thing to do is to write your descriptions for your videos or your captions in short chunks of text. The reason for this is because long paragraphs aren't really processed and apparently they tend to get blurred. Also try to provide direct and complete answers to commonly asked questions in your content. This will help generative AI cite you because it's often looking to pull quick, extractable answers to commonly asked questions. Let me know if you want me to do a whole video on generative engine optimization. It doesn't quite roll off the tongue like search engine optimization does, but I'm sure that just comes with practice. Let me know if you want a whole video on it and I will get to work creating it. So those are my creator economy trends for 2026. If you feel like hanging around, make sure you watch this video. It's all about the social media trends for 2026. So these two videos are like siblings, right? They both go hand in hand. Also, don't forget that you could get started with Pixar by heading to the link in my description. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I can't wait to see you in my next video.